The massive space station called Nexus Prime floated in the darkness between three star systems. It was the biggest thing ever built by any species in the galaxy. Thousands of alien ships surrounded it like metal clouds. Today was different from any other day in galactic history. Ambassador Zethkar walked into the Great Council chamber. His blue skin gleamed under the bright lights. The Vraxian Empire had sent their best diplomat, but Zethkar was also a warrior. Scars covered his face from many battles. He carried important news that would change everything. The chamber was huge. Representatives from dozens of alien species sat in floating chairs arranged in circles. The hegemony delegates wore their shining silver suits. Their technology was the most advanced in the galaxy. The ethereal collective members floated without chairs at all. Their ghostly forms barely looked real. They were older than most stars and knew secrets that other species could only dream about. Zethkar activated the holographic display in the center of the room. A three-dimensional map appeared, showing the Kepler 442 star system. Red dots marked the positions of alien fleets. Hundreds of ships filled the space around the contested planets. Fellow council members, Zethkar began, his voice deep and commanding. Our combined fleets have gathered at Kepler 442. 300 Vraxian dreadnoughts stand ready for battle. The hegemony has sent 200 of their most powerful battlecruisers. The ethereal collective graces us with 50 motherships. Murmurs of approval filled the chamber. This was the largest military force ever assembled. No enemy could stand against such power. The contested system would finally be claimed. However, Zethkar continued, we have detected an approaching fleet. He manipulated the display. New dots appeared at the edge of the system. Intelligence reports confirm these are human vessels. The chamber fell silent for a moment. Then something unexpected happened. Laughter began to spread through the room. First one delegate chuckled, then another. Soon the entire chamber echoed with the sounds of amusement from dozens of different species. Humans? Called out Admiral Nexus 7 of the hegemony. His mechanical voice buzzed with electronic humor. The newcomers who still use chemical rockets? The primitives who only discovered faster-than-light travel 50 years ago, added High Mystic Veltar of the Ethereal Collective. Her voice sounded like wind through crystal caves. Zethkar held up his hand for silence. The laughter continued for several more seconds before gradually dying down. There are 12 human ships approaching the system. This statement caused another wave of laughter even louder than before. 12 ships against over 500 of the galaxy's most advanced warships. The very idea seemed ridiculous. 12 ships? Admiral Nexus 7's optical sensors flashed with amusement. We could destroy 12 human ships with a single squadron. Why are we even discussing this? Meanwhile, far from the laughter and mockery of the Galactic Council, Commander Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Defiance. The ship moved through space at incredible speed, but inside the bridge everything felt calm and quiet. Jake was 42 years old with gray starting to show in his brown hair. He had fought in Earth's colonial wars and knew what real combat looked like. Sir, we're receiving alien communications, reported communications specialist Amy Rodriguez. She was young, maybe 25, with quick fingers that danced across her control panel. They're not trying to hide their transmissions. I think they want us to hear them. Jake nodded. Put it through the translators. Let's hear what they're saying about us. The bridge speakers crackled to life. Alien voices filled the air, speaking in languages that sounded like music, buzzing machinery, and whispered secrets. But the translation computers turned their words into English. 12 human ships, came one voice, clearly amused. This will be over before it starts. Should we even bother deploying our main battle groups? Asked another. A few patrol ships could handle this. I heard humans still use projectile weapons, said a third voice, followed by what the translator identified as laughter. Metal bullets in space. How quaint. Lisa Hayes looked up from her tactical station. She was Jake's second in command, a woman in her 30s with sharp eyes that missed nothing. They seem pretty confident, Commander. Let them be confident, Jake replied calmly. Paul, how are our systems looking? Chief Engineer Paul Davis checked his displays. He was an older man, maybe 50, with hands that had built and fixed more machines than most people ever saw. "All systems are green, sir. The new technology is working perfectly. No one knows what we're really carrying." Jake walked to the main viewing screen. Space looked empty ahead of them, but he knew better. His ships were approaching the most heavily defended system in this part of the galaxy. 3 major alien civilizations had brought their best warships to claim the valuable planets of Kepler 442. "Amy, open a channel to our fleet," Jake ordered. "Channel open, sir." Jake's voice carried to the 11 other human ships traveling with them. "All ships, this is Defiance. We're about to enter the Kepler 442 system. You all know what we're carrying. You all know what Earth's scientists spent 10 years developing. Today we find out if their theories actually work in real combat." Captain Nicole Brooks responded from the UES Tempest. "Defiance, this is Tempest. Our temporal systems are ready." "Wolverine here," came the voice of Lieutenant Ben Carter. He was the youngest ship commander in the human fleet at only 28 years old. "Spatial displacement drives are online and stable." One by one, the other ship commanders reported their status. Each vessel carried experimental technology that had never been tested in battle. Earth's best scientists had worked in secret facilities beyond Pluto to develop weapons and systems that pushed the boundaries of known physics. "Remember," Jake told his fleet, "we're not here to start a war. We're here to end one. These 3 alien powers have been fighting over this system for 5 years. Millions have died in their battles. Today that stops." The human ships continued toward their destination. They looked small and insignificant compared to the massive alien vessels waiting for them. The UES Defiance was only 300 meters long. The alien dreadnoughts were over 2 kilometers each. By any reasonable measure, the humans were completely outmatched. But Jake Morrison had learned something important during Earth's expansion into space. The galaxy was full of species that had grown comfortable with their advantages. They had better technology, bigger ships, and longer experience with space warfare. They had forgotten how to innovate, how to think differently, how to surprise their enemies. Humans had been in space for less than a century. They were the newcomers, the primitives, the species that everyone underestimated. But humans had something the galaxy had lost: desperation, creativity, and the willingness to try impossible things. "Sir," Lisa Hayes reported, "long-range sensors are picking up the alien fleets. The numbers match intelligence reports. We're looking at over 500 enemy ships." "Any second thoughts, people?" Jake asked his bridge crew. Amy Rodriguez smiled. "Too late for second thoughts, sir. Besides, I want to see the looks on their faces when they realize what we can do." Paul Davis chuckled. 12 ships against 500. Either we're about to make history or we're about to become history." Jake nodded. In a few hours, the galaxy would learn that humans were not the primitive species everyone thought they were. The laughter would stop very quickly. The human fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Kepler 442 system. 12 small ships appeared on every alien sensor screen across the vast battleground. The response was immediate and overwhelming. Admiral Zareth commanded the Hegemony battle group from her flagship, the Infinite Recursion. The massive vessel stretched over 3 kilometers from bow to stern. Its hull gleamed with advanced alloy plating that could absorb energy weapons and deflect physical projectiles. Zareth was 8 feet tall with 4 arms and skin that changed color based on her emotions. Right now her skin showed pale blue amusement. "Scan those human vessels," she ordered her tactical officer. "I want to know exactly what pathetic weapons they brought to this fight." The scans completed within seconds. The results appeared on multiple display screens around the bridge. Zareth read the data with growing satisfaction. The human ships were tiny compared to her fleet. Their hulls appeared to be made of basic steel alloy. Their weapon systems registered as simple kinetic cannons and primitive missile launchers. "Admiral," reported her communications officer, "the humans are broadcasting on all frequencies." "Put them on screen," Zareth commanded. "Let's hear what these primitives have to say before we destroy them." The main viewing screen flickered to life. Commander Jake Morrison appeared standing calmly on his small bridge. Behind him, Zareth could see outdated control panels and crew members wearing simple uniforms. Everything about the human ship looked backwards compared to hegemony technology. "This is Commander Jake Morrison of the United Earth ship Defiance," Jake said in a steady voice. "I am speaking to all alien forces currently occupying the Kepler 442 system. This system now falls under human protection. You have 36 hours to withdraw your fleets and return to your home territories." Silence filled the hegemony bridge for several seconds. Then Zareth began to laugh. Her skin shifted to bright yellow, indicating extreme amusement. The laughter spread to her crew members, who had never heard anything so ridiculous. "Did he just give us an ultimatum?" asked her first officer. 12 ships are threatening over 500? Zareth activated her reply channel. "Human Commander, I am Admiral Zareth of the Hegemony 3rd Fleet. You are clearly confused about your situation. You have exactly 60 seconds to surrender unconditionally before we destroy every ship in your pathetic little fleet." Jake Morrison's expression never changed. "Admiral, you have 36 hours. I suggest you use them wisely." The transmission ended. Zareth stared at the blank screen in amazement. Either the humans were completely insane, or they knew something she did not. Given their primitive technology, insanity seemed more likely. "Begin the attack," she ordered. "Target all human vessels. Use minimum power settings. I want to capture some survivors for questioning." Across the system, the massive alien fleets moved into attack formation. 300 Varaxian dreadnoughts activated their plasma cannon arrays. 200 hegemony battlecruisers charged their antimatter torpedo launchers. 50 ethereal motherships began to glow with psychic energy weapons. The combined firepower of over 500 advanced warships focused on 12 small human vessels. It should have been the shortest battle in galactic history. "All ships fire at will," Admiral Zareth commanded. The space around the human fleet erupted with deadly energy. Plasma bolts that could melt through asteroid belts streaked toward the small ships. Antimatter torpedoes that could crack planetary crusts accelerated to incredible speeds. Psychic energy waves that could drive entire crews insane washed over the human formation. For 3 full seconds, the human ships disappeared completely inside a ball of destruction that outshone the system's star. Every alien captain expected to see nothing but debris when the energy dissipated. Instead, they saw something impossible. All 12 human ships remained exactly where they had been. They showed no damage, no burns, no signs that they had been attacked at all. They simply floated in space as if nothing had happened. "Impossible," whispered Admiral Zareth. Her skin turned deep purple with confusion. "Run the scans again. Those ships should be vaporized." Her tactical officer worked frantically at his controls. "Admiral, the scans show no damage to any human vessel. I don't understand how they survived." Similar scenes played out across the alien fleets. Varaxian commanders roared in frustration. Hegemony officers ran diagnostic checks on their weapons. Ethereal mystics tried to sense what had gone wrong with their psychic attacks. On the bridge of the UES Defiance, Jake Morrison turned to his crew. "Status report. All systems normal," reported Chief Engineer Paul Davis. "The quantum displacement. Field worked perfectly. We weren't actually here when their weapons arrived." Lisa Hayes smiled at her tactical display. "The aliens look confused, Commander. Their weapons hit empty space while we were displaced into parallel dimensional space." "How long can we maintain the displacement?" Jake asked. "As long as we need to," Paul replied. "The reactors are barely working to maintain the field. This technology is more efficient than our scientists predicted." Jake nodded. "Amy, open AE, channel to Lieutenant Ben Carter on the Wolverine." "Channel open, sir." "Ben, you're up. Show them what our ships can really do." 200,000 kilometers away, Lieutenant Ben Carter sat on the bridge of the UES Wolverine. His ship was the smallest in the human fleet, only 150 meters long. But it carried some of Earth's most advanced experimental systems. "Roger that, Commander," Ben replied. "Beginning combat teleportation sequence." The Wolverine suddenly vanished from its position. It reappeared instantly next to a massive Varaxian dreadnought. The alien ship was over 10 times larger than the human vessel, but Ben had positioned his ship perfectly. Firing temporal displacement cannon, Ben announced calmly. A beam of energy that looked like twisted light struck the Varaxian dreadnought. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the massive alien ship began to flicker like a bad hologram. The flickering became more intense until suddenly the ship simply wasn't there anymore. It had not exploded. It had not been destroyed. It had been erased from time itself, as if it had never existed. The Wolverine teleported back to the human formation before the aliens could react. Direct hit, Ben reported. Target has been removed from the timeline. Panic began to spread through the alien fleets. Weapons that erased ships from existence were beyond anything they had ever encountered. The humans were not using advanced versions of known technology. They were using concepts that the galaxy's best scientists considered purely theoretical. Captain, Nicole Brooks spoke from her ship, the UES Tempest. Commander Morrison, this is Tempest. We're detecting massive power buildups across the alien fleets. They're preparing for a full-scale assault. Understood, Nicole, Jake replied. All ships, prepare for Phase 2. Show them what happens when you anger humans. The Tempest moved forward from the human formation. Nicole Brooks was 35 years old and had commanded exploration vessels before being selected for this mission. Her ship carried weapons that bent the laws of physics in ways that made alien scientists weep. Charging reality distortion cannon, Nicole announced. Target locked on the Hegemony flagship. Admiral Zarath watched in horror as the small human ship aimed directly at her massive vessel. All weapons, target that ship. Destroy it now. Every Hegemony ship in the area fired at once. Hundreds of energy beams and projectiles streaked toward the Tempest. But the human ship simply stepped sideways through dimensional space, letting the attacks pass harmlessly through empty space. Firing, Nicole said calmly. The reality distortion cannon created a bubble of altered space around the Hegemony flagship. Inside the bubble, the laws of physics worked differently. The ship's advanced hull became soft like clay. Its powerful engines turned into flowers. Its weapon systems transformed into musical instruments. The most advanced warship in the Hegemony fleet had become a bizarre work of art, floating helplessly in space. Similar attacks struck alien vessels throughout the system. Human ships teleported through space, fired weapons that shouldn't exist, and demonstrated technology that treated the universe like a toy to be played with. The laughter had stopped completely. The alien fleets regrouped after the shocking first exchange. Admiral Zarath floated in an escape pod after her flagship had been turned into abstract art. Her skin cycled through colors of rage, fear, and confusion. She had never seen weapons that could change the basic rules of reality. Get me a connection to the Varaxian and Ethereal commanders, she ordered her rescue ship. We need to coordinate our response. These humans are using technology that should be impossible. General Krathax of the Varaxian Empire was equally confused. His species had conquered dozens of worlds through superior firepower and tactics. They understood war better than any race in the galaxy. But this was not war as they knew it. This was something completely different. My weapons cannot hit targets that exist in parallel dimensions, he growled to his tactical staff. How do we fight enemies who can step outside of normal space? High Mystic Veltar of the Ethereal Collective tried to probe the human minds with her psychic abilities. Her species had evolved beyond physical form millions of years ago. They could read thoughts, control emotions, and drive lesser beings, insane with a focused thought. But when she touched the human minds, she recoiled in shock. The human thoughts were chaotic, random, and completely unpredictable. Where alien minds followed logical patterns, human minds jumped between ideas with no clear connection. It was like trying to grab smoke with her hands. I cannot penetrate their mental defenses, she reported to her council. Their minds are naturally shielded by their own disorder. On the bridge of the UES Defiance, Dr. Kevin Walsh monitored the alien communications. He was Earth's leading expert on xenopsychology and had studied alien behavior patterns for 20 years. He was a thin man with thick glasses who preferred laboratories to battlefields. Commander Morrison, Kevin said, adjusting his glasses, nervously. I think we should explain to them what we've done. They don't understand how our technology works, and that's making them more dangerous. Jake considered this advice. The aliens were clearly preparing for a more desperate attack. Desperate enemies often did unpredictable things, and unpredictability could be dangerous even with superior technology. Amy, open a channel to all alien fleets, Jake ordered. Channel open, sir. Jake's image appeared on screens throughout the alien armada. Behind him, his crew worked calmly at their stations. The contrast between human composure and alien panic was obvious. Alien commanders, this is Jake Morrison. I want to explain what you're facing so you can make informed decisions about your next actions. Admiral Zareth interrupted from her rescue pod. Human, what devilry are you using? Your weapons violate the fundamental laws of physics. Actually, they don't, Dr. Kevin Walsh said, stepping into view of the camera. They use physics that your civilizations never discovered. While you spent thousands of years perfecting plasma, weapons, and energy shields, we took a different approach. Kevin activated a holographic display that showed complex equations and diagrams. We learned to manipulate quantum probability, temporal mechanics, and dimensional space. Your weapons are very powerful, but they're still bound by conventional physics. Impossible. General Krathax's voice boomed through the communication system. No species can master such advanced concepts in only 50 years of space travel. You're right, Kevin admitted. Most species can't, but humans think differently than you do. Our minds are chaotic and unpredictable. That's usually a weakness, but in scientific research, it became our greatest strength. The battle resumed as Kevin spoke. Captain Ryan Torres commanded the UES Phantom, a ship designed for stealth operations. His vessel was painted matte black and covered in sensor-absorbing materials. But its real advantages were much more exotic. Phantom to all ships, Ryan reported. The Ethereal Collective is attempting a mass psychic attack, initiating mental chaos protocol. The ethereal motherships began to glow with focused psychic energy. 50 of the galaxy's most powerful telepaths concentrated their abilities on the human fleet. The psychic assault should have driven the human crews completely insane within seconds. Instead, something unexpected happened. The human crews began to think even more chaotically than usual. Their naturally disordered minds became completely random, creating a feedback loop that overwhelmed the ethereal attackers. High Mystic Veltar screamed as the chaotic human thoughts flooded back through the psychic connection. Her perfectly ordered mind could not process the random, illogical patterns of human consciousness. The feedback caused her to collapse, unconscious. Similar scenes played out across the ethereal fleet. Their greatest weapon had been turned against them by the simple fact that human minds were naturally resistant to mental manipulation. Ethereal fleet is withdrawing, reported Lisa Hayes from her tactical station. Their psychic attacks failed completely. Meanwhile, Major Sarah Williams prepared for the next phase of human operations. She commanded the UES Defiance's Marine Detachment, 50 soldiers equipped with experimental personal combat gear. Sarah was 32 years old and had served in Earth's toughest military units. Marines prepare for boarding operations, she announced over the ship's internal communication system. We're going to show these aliens what human infantry can do. The Marines wore powered armor that looked bulky and primitive compared to alien gear. But like everything else in the human fleet, appearances were misleading. The armor contained miniaturized versions of the same reality-bending technology that powered the ships. Initiating personal teleportation, Sarah reported. All Marines, remember your training. These aliens have never faced human soldiers before. 50 human Marines simply vanished from the UES Defiance and reappeared inside alien ships throughout the enemy fleet. The aliens had no defense against soldiers who could walk through solid walls and appear anywhere on their vessels. Sergeant Mike Collins materialized in the middle of a Vraxian dreadnought's bridge. The massive alien warriors reached for their weapons, but Mike activated his gravity manipulation suit. He walked up the wall and across the ceiling, firing his weapon at impossible angles. Contact the human fleet, he ordered the confused aliens. Tell them Sergeant Collins says hello. Corporal Linda Martinez appeared in a Hegemony battlecruiser's engineering section. The alien engineers tried to stop her, but she simply walked through their force fields as if they didn't exist. Her suit's dimensional phasing technology made her partially exist in parallel space. "Don't worry," she told the frightened aliens. "We're not here to hurt you. We're here to prove a point." All across the alien fleets, human Marines demonstrated capabilities that seemed magical. They walked through walls, ignored energy weapons, and moved in ways that violated basic physics, but they didn't kill anyone. Instead, they planted small devices throughout the alien ships. "All Marines report successful deployment," Sarah announced. Returning to base, the 50 soldiers teleported back to the UES Defiance as quickly as they had left. The entire operation took less than 10 minutes, but its effects were immediate and devastating. "Activating planted devices," reported Chief Engineer Paul Davis. "All alien ships are now under our control." The small devices that the Marines had planted began to emit quantum fields that interfered with alien technology. Weapon systems shut down. Life support continued to function, but everything else stopped working. Over 500 of the galaxy's most advanced warships became helpless in space. "This is impossible," Admiral Zarath whispered. "How can 50 soldiers disable our entire fleet?" Dr. Kevin Walsh answered her question. "Because your technology relies on predictable physics. Our devices create localized zones where physics work differently. Your systems can't function in an environment they weren't designed for." Jake Morrison's voice carried across all communication channels. "Alien commanders, you now understand what you're facing. We don't want to destroy you. We want to protect this system from further warfare. You can choose to leave peacefully, or we can demonstrate more of our capabilities." The alien fleets found themselves completely helpless. Their most advanced weapons were useless against human technology. Their most powerful psychic abilities couldn't penetrate human minds. Their greatest warriors couldn't fight soldiers who could walk through walls. For the first time in galactic history, the three major powers faced an enemy they could not defeat through conventional means. The small human fleet had proven that size and numbers meant nothing when faced with technology that rewrote the rules of reality itself. The alien commanders floated in their disabled ships trying to understand what had happened to them. Their weapons were dead. Their engines barely functioned. Even their basic communication systems worked only because the humans allowed it. Admiral Zarath sat in her rescue pod, staring at the small human fleet through the viewport. 12 tiny ships had defeated over 500 of the galaxy's most advanced warships. Her logical mind could not process how this was possible. "Get me a direct channel to the human commander," she ordered. "I need to understand what we're really facing." The communication screen flickered to life, showing Commander Jake Morrison on his bridge. He looked calm and relaxed, as if disabling entire fleets was just another day's work for humans. "Admiral Zarath," Jake said politely, "I hope your crew is safe. We made sure to keep your life support systems working normally." "Human," Zarath began, her voice tight with controlled emotion. "What you have done here is impossible. Your 12 ships should not be able to defeat our combined fleets." "You're right," Jake admitted. 12 ships shouldn't be able to do this. But we're not just 12 ships. We're representatives of something much larger." Captain Danny Murphy stepped into view behind Jake. Danny was the fleet's intelligence officer and historian. He was a quiet man in his 40s who had spent years studying galactic politics and military capabilities. "Admiral," Danny said, "let me show you what you're really dealing with." The display screen changed to show a star map of local space. Red dots marked the positions of known alien colonies and military bases, but new blue dots began appearing throughout the map, showing human positions that the aliens had never detected. "While your three civilizations have been fighting over established territories for the past 5 years," Danny explained, "humanity has been expanding into the dark spaces between stars. We've built colonies and systems you consider worthless. We've established research stations in areas you never bothered to explore." More blue dots appeared on the map, hundreds of them, then thousands. "This is our true fleet distribution," Danny continued. "The 12 ships you're facing represent our oldest experimental vessels. They're our testing platforms, not our main battle fleet." Admiral Zarath's skin turned pale white with shock. How many ships do you really have? 3,000. Active warships, Jake answered calmly. Each one equipped with the same reality manipulation technology you've experienced today, plus support vessels, research ships, and colony defense platforms. General Krathax's voice crackled through the communication system from his disabled dreadnought. Impossible. Our intelligence networks would have detected such a massive fleet. Lieutenant Commander Rachel Turner appeared on screen. She commanded the UES Defiance's Reconnaissance Division and had coordinated human intelligence operations for 3 years. Rachel was a small woman with sharp eyes who noticed details that others missed. General, your intelligence networks are very good at detecting conventional technology, Rachel said with a slight smile, but they can't find ships that exist partially outside normal space. Our entire fleet uses dimensional cloaking systems. The star map display changed again. This time it showed energy readings from across the galaxy. Massive power signatures appeared in locations where the aliens thought space was empty. We've been watching you for years, Rachel continued. Every battle you fought, every ship movement, every tactical decision. We know your capabilities better than you know ours. High Mystic Veltar's weak voice joined the conversation from her damaged mothership. The psychic feedback from earlier had left her barely conscious, but she needed to understand what had happened. Your minds, she whispered. How do you resist our mental powers? No species should be immune to psychic manipulation. Dr. Kevin Walsh adjusted his glasses and leaned toward the camera. Hi, Mystic. Your species evolved in a very different way than humans. You developed perfect mental order and logical thought patterns that makes you incredibly powerful telepaths. But it also makes you vulnerable, Kevin continued. Human minds are naturally chaotic. We think in random patterns, make illogical connections, and change subjects without warning. Our mental disorder acts as natural shielding against organized, psychic attacks. The conversation was interrupted by new alarms sounding throughout the alien fleets. Warning lights flashed on every ship as their sensors detected something approaching from deep space. What now? Admiral Zarath demanded. Captain Susan Phillips of the UES Monitor spoke from her position at the edge of the human formation. Susan commanded the fleet's deep space surveillance vessel, equipped with sensors that could detect objects light years away. Long-range sensors are picking up massive energy signatures, Susan reported. Something very large is moving toward this system from outside the galaxy. The main display screen changed to show sensor readings from the galactic rim. Enormous shapes moved through the darkness between galaxies, heading directly toward inhabited space. The energy signatures were unlike anything in known databases. What are those things? General Krathax asked, his warrior instincts overcoming his confusion about the human situation. Dr. Mark Johnson, the chief physicist aboard the UES Vanguard, studied the sensor data carefully. Mark was one of Earth's leading experts on exotic energy patterns and had helped develop many of the technologies that made human ships so effective. Based on the energy readings, Mark said slowly, these appear to be ships or structures from outside our galaxy. They're using technologies that our sensors can barely detect. The energy patterns are completely alien, he continued. Not alien, like your species, but alien to our entire universe. These things might be from a different dimension or reality entirely. Jake Morrison studied the approaching threats with growing concern. How long until they reach inhabited systems? At their current speed, approximately 6 months, Susan Phillips reported. But sir, these objects are accelerating. They seem to be able to manipulate space-time around themselves. The implications hit everyone at the same time. The 3 alien civilizations had been fighting each other, while a much greater threat approached from the void beyond the galaxy. Their wars over territory seemed meaningless compared to the possibility of invasion by completely unknown forces. This changes everything, Admiral Zarath said quietly. If those things are hostile, our individual fleets won't be able to stop them. You're right, Jake agreed. But combined with human technology, we might have a chance. General Krathax growled with frustration. Human, are you suggesting an alliance after what you've done to our fleets? I'm suggesting survival, Jake replied. Your civilizations have advanced manufacturing capabilities and experienced crews. We have technology that can manipulate reality itself. Apart, we might all be destroyed. Together, we could build a defense force capable of protecting the galaxy." High Mystic Veltar's voice was barely audible. The psychic emanations from those approaching objects are unlike anything I've ever encountered. They feel hungry, intelligent, but completely alien. Lieutenant Jake Stevens at the communications station picked up additional signals from the deep space objects. Jake was young and had excellent skills with exotic communication systems. "Commander," Jake Stevens reported, "I'm detecting some kind of scanning beams from the approaching objects. They seem to be examining every inhabited system in the galaxy. They're cataloging our worlds." The alien commanders realized that their situation had completely changed. They were no longer enemies fighting over resources. They were potential allies facing an unknown threat that could destroy all their civilizations. Captain Alex Parker, commanding the UES Sentinel, activated his ship's long-range communication array. Alex had been monitoring signals from across the galaxy and had disturbing news to report. "All ships, this is Sentinel. I'm receiving distress signals from the Outer Rim colonies. Several systems have gone completely silent in the past week. Whatever those things are, they've already started their attack." The galaxy was about to face its greatest challenge, and only the alliance between former enemies might be enough to survive what was coming. 3 weeks after the battle at Kepler 442, the galaxy looked completely different. The Galactic Council met again, but this time humans sat at the head of the table. The great chamber that had once echoed with laughter now buzzed with urgent planning and cooperation. Ambassador Helen Brooks represented Earth's interests in the new alliance. She was a skilled diplomat in her 50s who had helped negotiate trade agreements with dozens of alien species. But today she was discussing something far more important than trade routes. "The combined fleet construction is ahead of schedule," Helen reported to the assembled delegates. "Human technology merged with alien manufacturing capabilities is producing results faster than we expected." Admiral Zarath, now serving as liaison for the hegemony forces, nodded with approval. Her skin showed steady blue, indicating calm focus. "Our shipyards have adapted to human designs remarkably well. The reality manipulation systems are complex, but our engineers are learning quickly." General Krathax represented the Vraxian military forces. The proud warrior had swallowed his pride to work with the humans who had defeated his fleet. Vraxian weapon systems integrated with human dimensional technology create firepower levels we never thought possible. High Mystic Veltar had recovered from her psychic injuries, and now served as the ethereal collective's representative. Her ghostly form flickered with interest as she spoke. "The mental shielding techniques that humans have taught us will protect our psychic warriors from the alien influence we detected in the approaching forces." Commander Jake Morrison stood before a massive holographic display showing the galaxy's new defensive preparations. Space stations armed with reality warping, weapons orbited key systems. Patrol fleets of hybrid human-alien vessels guarded important trade routes. The entire galaxy had become a fortress. "Construction report," Jake announced. "We now have over 800 hybrid warships operational. Each vessel combines human reality manipulation technology with alien engineering expertise. Our defensive grid covers all major inhabited systems." Captain Susan Phillips provided the intelligence update that everyone was waiting to hear. Her deep space sensors had been monitoring the approaching threat for weeks. "The alien objects have entered our galaxy and are moving faster than before. They've destroyed 17 outer rim colonies in the past 10 days." The chamber fell silent. 17 entire worlds had been wiped out by the unknown invaders. Millions of beings from dozens of species had died without the galaxy even understanding what was attacking them. "What do we know about their capabilities?" Helen Brooks asked. Dr. Tony Garcia, Earth's leading expert on exotic technologies, stepped forward. Tony had been studying the energy signatures and attack patterns of the invading forces. He was a brilliant scientist who had helped develop some of humanity's most advanced weapons. "The invaders use technology that operates on completely different principles than anything in our galaxy," Tony explained. "They don't use energy weapons or physical projectiles. Instead, They seem to alter the fundamental properties of matter itself. When they attack a planet, Tony continued, they don't destroy it, they change it. The matter becomes something else entirely. We're not sure if they're transforming our worlds into something useful to them, or if this is just how their technology works. Captain Nicole Brooks had been leading scouting missions to study the invaders' methods. Her ship, the UES Tempest, was equipped with the most advanced sensors humanity could build. I've observed 3 attacks from long range. The process takes about 6 hours per planet. Whatever they're doing, it's very thorough. Lieutenant Commander Rachel Turner had analyzed the invasion patterns and found disturbing information. The invaders are not attacking randomly. They're targeting specific types of worlds. Planets with high population densities and advanced technology are being hit first. They're learning about us, Rachel continued. Each attack gives them more information about our capabilities and weaknesses. They're studying our galaxy the same way we studied theirs. The first major battle with the invaders came 2 days later. A joint human-alien fleet intercepted an invader group near the Centauri system. Captain Ryan Torres commanded the combined task force from his flagship, the redesigned UES Phantom. Contact with unknown vessels, reported his tactical officer. 3 large objects, each approximately 10 kilometers long. Configuration unlike anything in our databases. The invader ships looked like twisted metal sculptures that hurt to look at directly. They moved through space in ways that violated basic physics, seeming to fold space around themselves rather than traveling through it. All ships, this is Torres. Engage the enemy. Remember, these things can alter matter itself, so keep your distance and use our longest-range weapons. The combined fleet opened fire with everything they had. Human reality distortion cannons struck the invader vessels alongside alien plasma bombardments and psychic attacks. The concentrated firepower should have destroyed any known ship instantly. Instead, the invader vessels simply absorbed the attacks. The energy weapons disappeared into their hulls without causing any visible damage. Even the reality-warping human technology seemed to have no effect. Our weapons aren't working, Torres reported. These things are immune to everything we're throwing at them. The invaders responded with their own attack. Beams of strange energy reached out from their ships and touched 3 vessels in the human-alien fleet. The touched ships began to change immediately. The hegemony cruiser Infinite Logic twisted into an impossible shape, its hull flowing like liquid metal. The crew's distress calls became musical notes that played across all communication frequencies. Within minutes, the ship had become something that belonged in an art museum rather than a battlefield. Fall back, Torres ordered. All ships, retreat to minimum safe distance. We need to analyze what just happened. Dr. Mark Johnson studied the sensor readings from the failed attack. His analysis was troubling. These invaders don't just use different technology. They operate according to different laws of physics entirely. Our reality manipulation weapons can't affect them, because they exist partially outside our reality. Back at the command center, Jake Morrison received the battle report with growing concern. The galaxy's combined forces had been completely ineffective against the invaders. Traditional weapons, advanced alien technology, and even human reality warping systems had failed. We need a new approach, Jake told his assembled commanders. These invaders are too alien for conventional tactics. Dr. Kevin Walsh had been studying the psychological profiles of the invader attacks. Commander, I think the key might be in how they think. They're so alien that they can't understand our chaotic human thought patterns any better than we can understand theirs. What do you mean? Jake asked. Every species in our galaxy follows some form of logic, even if we don't understand it, Kevin explained. But human thinking is naturally random and unpredictable. Maybe that chaos is our weapon against beings who operate on completely alien logic. Lieutenant Jake Stevens had been monitoring deep space communications and had detected something interesting. Sir, I'm picking up transmission patterns from the invader ships. They seem to be coordinating their attacks through some kind of shared consciousness. A hive mind? Jake asked. More complex than that, Jake Stevens replied. It's like they're all part of the same thought process. Individual ships are just extensions of a single massive intelligence. This gave Jake Morrison an idea. Dr. Walsh, what would happen if we exposed a hive mind to truly chaotic human thoughts, not through psychic attacks but through direct contact? Kevin considered the possibilities. If their shared consciousness is based on logical patterns, introducing pure chaos might disrupt their entire network. But it would be incredibly dangerous for the human volunteers. Jake nodded grimly. Put together a team of volunteers with the most chaotic thought patterns we can find. We're going to try something that's never been attempted before. Captain Danny Murphy volunteered immediately. Sir, my mind has always been scattered and random. If you need chaos, I'm your man. 6 other crew members volunteered for the dangerous mission. They would board an invader ship using human teleportation technology and attempt to directly interface with the alien hive mind. The goal was to introduce so much mental chaos that the invaders would lose coordination. This is either going to save the galaxy, Jake said, or it's going to be the most spectacular failure in military history. The final battle was about to begin, and humanity's greatest weakness was about to become their ultimate weapon.